Now we reflect on one of the darkest chapters in human history, the 1994 Genocide. 1994, over 1 million people were brutally killed in a systematic and targeted campaign of violence. But beyond remembrance, this commemoration is also a call to action, a moment to confront the root of hatred, the dangers of silence, and the consequences of global inaction. 32 years later, Rwanda stands as a case study in post-conflict reconstruction, having pursued justice through community-based systems like the Gakaka, promoted national unity, and invested heavily in reconciliation and institutional reforms. This year's commemoration, led by the African Union and global partners, is themed around honoring the past while protecting the future, reinforcing Africa's collective commitment to ensuring that genocide never happens again. Yet the question remains, can peace truly be sustained? What safeguards are in place to prevent a reoccurrence? And what lessons can Africa draw from Rwanda's experience in addressing conflict, identity, and national building? To discuss these critical issues, I'm being joined by Eddie Kalisa, founder of the Rwanda Institute for Conflict Transformation and Peace Building, and chairman of the Impact Africa Foundation, an NGO based in Washington, D.C. He'll be joining us from Kampala, Uganda, right now. Okay, I will go for yet another short break. When we come back, it will be time to get to Eddie and have a proper conversation. Stay with us. It will be a short break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Razep Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show.
Speaking with Eddie Kalisa, founder of the Rwandan Institute for Conflict Transformation and Peace Building and chairman of the Impact Africa Foundation. Hello, Eddie. Can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Good afternoon.
You are right there. Good morning, all the way from Kampala.
Yeah, I'm here in Kampala. I'm not in Rwanda. I'm here for my business summit. Yeah, good afternoon. How are you?
What do you think the issue has been? I mean, right now we are celebrating 32 years since the genocide. What does, first of all, a lot of us from Nigeria are asking, and other parts of the world are asking, what does Kwibuka really mean? And especially for the younger generation who did not witness 1994.
Thank you. Yeah, actually it is called commemoration. It's not celebration. We are commemorating. The word Kwibuka means commemorating or remembering in Kenya-Rwanda. Regarding to the question, what does it mean after people who born after 1994 genocide against the Tutsi is keeping Kwibuka with them and putting together the past and the future while building the resilience and the future of Rwanda. So we carry everyone on board, being the younger who were born after 1994 genocide, or older than them, whether survivors of genocide, whether the perpetrators who are pre-minded and then released after serving their terms, but going forward for one country, one unit. That's what Kwibuka means.
So from your perspective, what are the most misunderstood aspects of the genocide and its cause? A lot of people still do not understand the root cause of the genocide. I don't know if it's even important to go there, but while we are commemorating that unfortunate event, what's your perspective of the root cause?
The root cause are historical. You know, as Africa was influenced by the Western world when they came through the region, different region, not only Catholic, and the so-called the district governors who were sent by Belgium to Rwanda and Burundi and Congo, actually who separated one part of Congo from Rwanda to Congo, and with the Congolese, with the Congolese people today, which has resurrected. That's why you see the M23. This was the part of Rwanda, but the Belgians and the Bayonne Conference took that part from Rwanda to Congo with their people. Today, after 62 years, 64 years, these people are denied. They are denied being a Congolese where the land belonged to Congo, but people speaking Rwanda who are Rwandese by ethnicity, but not by nationality, are chased away. And now you are seeing the fight of M23. That's how they started planting the seed of hate, the seeds of hatred, the seeds of divisions. Remember, Rwanda was under kingdom, and when the Belgian came throughout this kingdom and empowered one ethnicity against another ethnicity, and that one was culminating 1 million people of Tutsi, but even with some Hutu who resisted the killings. But again, what you said, people don't understand or underline, they confuse. It's not Rwanda genocide. It is a genocide against the Tutsi. Yes, there are some Hutus who are killed or massacred, but not intention. Genocide is intention. It's a planned. So it's a genocide against the Tutsi. Second, some people, especially global world with interest, they deny it. They say it wasn't genocide, it was a conflict. So it wasn't a conflict, it was a planned. Genocide cannot happen without the committed or backed or supported by the government. So that's what the people don't understand, or they use it in different way. Actually, now they're using it against the government to be the perpetrators. Yet it is this same government that stopped the genocide. Thank you. So the underlying factor you mentioned, or tension, it's maybe when there's no the reconciliation. There are many factors that are people brought together on a board. We are seeing ourselves as Rwandans, not a Hutu, not a Tutsi, not Pygmies or Twas. We are seeing for the last 32 years as one unity country, as one unified country, which is Rwanda. That's why we have the full ministry of reconciliation. So everybody is on a board. You serve your time, you committed the genocide, you're now taken back to the community, serve as a one country, serve as one people, and want every younger person, every generation to see themselves as Rwandans, not Hutus, not Tutsis.
The African Union has described this genocide not only as a result of hatred, but also as of indifference. And you just mentioned it in your response right there, where you talked about the intentionality of some people not to even admit that it existed, as they call it a conflict instead of a proper genocide that it actually is. They call it, the AU has described it as indifference and inaction. How significant is global failure in enabling tragedies, especially in Africa, and in this particular genocide that happened, the global community's failure to ensure that this doesn't happen, or they are meddling in it happening in the very first place?
Yeah, the international community has had these failures, and remember 2004 there was a theme called never again. Never genocide again anywhere, but still we are seeing everywhere, be on this continent or outside Africa, we are seeing ethnicity cleansing, be South Sudan, be everywhere. You can see in Congo, Eastern Congo. It is now intentional. It is a planned government. When you see the Tutsis who are Congolese, they are being uprooted, they are being taken away, calling themselves. The government is pushing them because they are Rwanda speakers. So the individual, as the Union, African Union is saying, African Union should have a stronger stance against any government, any institution that is encouraging indifferences, that is encouraging misunderstanding or conflict. But unity, that's what can resolve, and even stand against those who are oppressed or those who are being killed. Being in South Sudan, we know that people are being killed in South Sudan. There are people who are killing here and there. Even in West Africa countries, there are many killings that have taken place. So we need unity, being as a continent or among our countries, between countries. So that's what, as Rwanda people, as Rwanda government is committed to unity, to unify our people. Because when you don't bring the divisions, when we don't put other people aside, then people are coming together proud to be themselves, to build a national identity, to build a national unity. That's what African unity should encourage, is unity, is nationalism, is supporting one another, but also condemn where the wrong happens, where the killings are taking place. Africa is huge. Africa is beautiful. Africa is strong. So Africa is one. Africa is a blessing. This continent, we have traveled, we have met many times in Washington or New York, but Africa is strength. So we need leaders, we need politicians who agitate, who support unity than differences and what puts us aside, which will give us a gap for the external foreigners to come and kill us or finish us.
The Institute for Conflict, the Rwanda Institute for Conflict Transformation and Peace Building. So far, what has your work entailed in ensuring sustained peace in the region, especially in Rwanda? You have mentioned earlier something that really melted my heart, where you said you want everyone to see themselves first as Rwandans and not bring the ethnicity that often brings this discord. We attended an event in New York together, and it was good to see that the African diaspora always like to come together, to promote. And again, I would like us to address these very important issues of the meddling that comes from the diasporans. Do we understand the need to look into this very beautiful continent and ensure peace, diasporans or not?
Thank you, Joy. One, my commitment, my organization, Rwanda Institute for Conflict Transformation and Peace Building, was a result of putting one stone for the government programs, which supports unity. So my role has been engaging peace education throughout high school and the universities, interchurch programs. Because sometimes people think the government should only do this part of reconciliation. So we have been doing it many years, right when I was in high school, campus, even after campus. So we encourage reconciliation, we encourage unity, we encourage mediation, we encourage oneness and national cohesion. That's what I've been doing. Inclusivity. That's what I've been doing all the even now. I'm looking forward to go to Eastern Congo. And even I'm looking to go to Mozambique, Central Africa. My heart, my energy, my commitment is for beautiful Africa, to see unity. When we divide, we are putting ourselves down. And we should be aiming to have Africa as one country, as one bloc, as one voice. That's what I wish African Union to be doing, to be agitating, to be advocating for unity. I'm not seeing as a Nigerian, as a Ugandan. I'm here, I've been here for 1 week. I feel at home. When I go to Congo, I should be feel at home. When I go to Uganda, I should feel at home. So this is a strength. As the former, the first presidents of African Union or African Organization of African Unity, they had this dream of, and that's why we missed Casablanca, and that's why we missed. When we missed that point of national of unity of Africa, that's why you're seeing us crumbled. Everybody is taking apart with these resources. Everybody sees us weak. That's when when you go to African Union, we think we are subdued by the China, by the Western world. Even Italy can come and control us. Even Turkey can come and control Africa. Just even South Korea can call African Union leaders to go there. Why? So this, until we are strong, until we have one voice, that's when we can be strong. So I've been committed to national unity, the conciliation programs to my country, and even East Africa.
So how have you ensured that what your initiatives over the years in education, in empowering young people, I follow what you do a lot, how have you ensured that it is sustained? It must be very tasking on you as a person. I keep sending you strength because I'm sure it's costing you a lot to do that. But what specific systems beyond you now has government, put in place to ensure this peace? Because we commend Rwanda for being such a post-conflict success story, post-genocide success story. What has kept this peace, and how can we ensure that this peace is sustained beyond what you personally do and what your organizations have been doing?
Thank you, Joy. One, started, as you said, right, that you have been informed what I'm doing. I started a school. I have elementary school and a preschool, which among our programs, we inculcate, we plant, we put a small curriculum about inclusivity, of peace building, love environment, love one another, as they're playing, as they're eating together, as they're sharing a meal, as the teachers talk, as they train them. So they should teach them that this is the only country they have. And there is no one who's superior among each other. And there is no one who's better than another. So that's why they share a meal together every single morning and lunch. So we have a very strong feeling, a very strong philosophy, and that's what I mentioned last year at the UN, is that peace building, coexistence, loving one another, unity is the only way we can survive as a country or as countries. So that I've been doing, and that's big. And then we do have peaceful sports. At the playing sports, then they have this trophy. They'll have these gifts, but in the name of promoting peace and reconciliation. And we don't stop from there. Then we go to the universities. Those are about to graduate. We talk about what went wrong. Why did we accept the foreign interveners to come and divide us to an extent? Why did the government accept that? But then you mentioned another key. How does Rwanda to become, regardless of a genocide, how do we become a success story? I wrote an article, Rwanda's post-economy and development. One of the confusions that Africa has is to embrace everything, the so-called democracy. Every democracy has come to divide. People hate one another because of the so-called democracy. So one of the problem that Africa lacks is to have a very strong philosophers or the political leaders who have a strong for where that they're leading their countries. So you become a president or a minister or prime minister, but you don't know exactly what we are taking in this country. Only probably to get self-rich enrichment. So one of the success stories is to have a very strong government, having grown outside of the country as they were refugees. Now they know where it went wrong and how to fix this country. So they have done everything to see Rwanda for another 100 years, which is unity. And the unity, you cannot talk about unity when maybe you are reaching out to your people, other people are left outside. So regardless, people still talk about the division, but we have a very strong government, very strong rules against whoever breaks it. So the rules is not against whoever, is for everyone who is against the unity, the conciliation, moving forward, even in the conciliation. So it is embedded, they are made in our laws that whoever breaks this will face the rule of law. So it's impacted by the stronger government, but then and then you equip your people to know where they are going, the directions. The beauty of that is better than is worse than division. Take an example. The government which carried the genocide, though we're talking about the external, the Belgian, the France, whoever, but this country which committed genocide, the regime which committed genocide in 1984, was in place for 32 years, but they did nothing. Only 4,000 had graduated the university for 34 years. Only. You can imagine you are ruling a country which is illiterate. So how many people you come to Rwanda? So transformation comes from the philosophical leaders, where they're heading in this country, where they know we are targeting the next generations, and how you sharpen them from the younger age. So that's what Rwanda is doing. We are so committed for reconciliation, for peace, for stability, and whoever threatens our stability, we feel all of us we are threatened. So we are encouraging a unity, we are encouraging a reconciliation, economic development, security weight for every individual, for every person must be feeling safe. Sometimes when I'm walking in other countries, not only this continent, Sometimes I feel I'm not safe because everybody almost has a gun or has a different thing. So we embrace, we're not only protecting Rwandans, but whoever comes to Rwanda should feel safe and should feel Africans. I've been seeing the news from South Africa where they are chasing the so-called foreigners. They're not foreigners. So, but everybody should feel. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Eddie, we'll go for a very quick break. When we return, we'll get into the other parts of this conversation. Are there still underlying ethnic-based, sort of feelings that must be touched on, and so much more will be discussed. We'll go for a short break now. When we return, we'll get into that conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Razeb Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show.
Welcome back from that. Still discussing Rwanda and the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994 and the commemoration, the 32-year commemoration that we're having right here. My guest has been Eddie Kalisa, founder of the Rwanda Institute for Conflict Transformation and Peace Building. I will be having a very important conversation. Eddie is joining me at the moment all the way from Kampala, Uganda, but we will be having the conversation about Rwanda. Eddie, I moved the conversation now to discuss whether or not we still have underlying tensions in Rwanda and how you have ensured that you can keep these tensions without escalating, because as you already know, which is something I really appreciate of Rwanda, where it banned ethnic-based politics as a sustainable long-term solution or temporary stabilizing measure, which is something we have here in Nigeria. Ethnic-based politics is very rife here in Nigeria. We see a lot of people here brazenly coming up with this ethnic-based politics. We see all of that, and not much is done. It has, over the years, ensured, or rather caused tensions whenever there is campaign electioneering and campaigning happening, even when we in the media constantly are out there calling against ethnic-based politics. Is most concerning because of what we also record as a country. And Nigeria, just like some other African countries, record this kind of conflict here and there, and immediately it is ethnic-based. Tempers are high, especially during electioneering, and so it was good to see that critical institutions, the judiciary, security, education, is preventing mass violence, is coming together. And one thing, Eddie, that you said earlier, which I really appreciate, is that everyone is justice for one is justice for all. If you threaten one person, everybody feels threatened, which is something we must feel like, not just in Rwanda now, but across Africa. Again, we will go for another very quick break and return to discuss more. Stay with us. This is Razeb Africa.
Welcome to Razeb Africa, the heartbeat of the continent in one show.
Welcome back from that very short break. We're still joined by Eddie Kalisa, founder of the Rwandan Institute for Conflict Transformation and Peace Building. Today we are discussing the 32 years of peace since the genocide against the Tutsis, something we now this celebration we refer to as Kwibuka. Let's go back to where we left off, Eddie, where I said, in spite of the work done and that national need to keep peace, one thing Rwanda has done that I appreciate so much, and I wish that other African countries would emulate, is the fact that ethnic-based politics has been banned. However, in spite of all this, my question is, are there still underlying tensions? Are there people who to this day still feel like repression has not been completely done, and they still feel bitterness? And how have the entire country been able to move past such feelings and kept it in check?
Thank you, Joy, once again. Very, very impressive and important question. One, Generation takes 40 years for another generation. So there are still some people who are underlying factors. One, people who committed genocide and they feel that they have refused the remorse, to be remorseful, or they feel shame, so they walk with that kind of. Second, some people, yes, because again, there are many factors, either external factors or either house factor or family factor or influence. They are there. But again, there are very strong rules against them. We have a saying that if you have your genocide spirit or mind or ideology, you better die with it in you. There is no room, there is no chance to give one to spread the hatred among other society, because our history was a good teacher to destroy a country, to destroy families. So those are still maybe people say my father or my grandpa was jailed because ABCD. Either he feels as a family member he shouldn't have gone to jail. But those are remnants. Those are remnants. Every society has remnants of bad stuff. Even today, after 75 years, there are some people still against the Jews who think the Jewish genocide was not enough. So those are there. There are some people who you hear, Joe, you are a journalist, who are in Congo, who are FDLA, who want to come back and think they didn't finish the work. And that's why you see the government of Rwanda and the people of Rwanda are always supporting our government to have element or mechanisms to stop that force. Because if they come, they'll finish. So those are there. Remnants, I'll call them remnants. I don't know, I will not say the number because I didn't carry the research, but it's a good number. But again, underlying factors need external influence. Some politicians want to use that as a card of reaching out their power. In Europe, where they are who created them, they don't use the cards of tribal or ethnistics. They don't. They talk about policies, economic, foreign policy, maybe migration. They talk about the policies, education, economy, building roads. But in Africa, to get the power, you have to use the ethnicity on tribal, of which we are very strong against it. So some external, and here, those who want to use the ethnicity lines for the political power, always hear international media, they say, this is international, this is important position. This is important position in Rwanda. This is a strong position in Rwanda. Because Africans don't carry research. When you come, for example, Joe, your TV come to Rwanda, interview these people called international oppositions or the big oppositions, because they have red cards of tribe, of which we are totally against. So those are there, but the majority of Rwandans, they really unified. Even those who committed genocide, they served their terms, they came back to the society, we embraced them. That was my job when I was at the university, was to train mediation community groups from the survivors part and the people committed genocide coming together for the training of 3 days. I did that for all my entire university. I was doing that. Then you go to the university. Then you go to the churches. So those are the small contributions one as individual can do. And then the media, you know, whatever the society portrays, it's from the top. If the top is rotten, the whole society will be rotten. If the whole society is not good, I don't use some words. If the whole society finds they are just there, they don't care. So we build the moral integrity, character, personality, respect, inclusivity. These are things we really embark on in our discussion. And I pray that all African countries should really encourage the unity among their societies. I know before the white people came, or the imperialists came, they were based on a tribal and kingdoms. But now it is a nationalhood, it is a statehood, it's a countryhood. Should come first. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I like that you mentioned the DRC, the Eastern DRC, where, as we speak, the tensions are happening there at the moment, including the presence of armed groups that are linked to the genocide, that they continue to pose risk. How do the dynamics change for you, especially knowing that, how does this dynamics affect long-term peace? And while you're answering that, I'd just like you to also address the fact that Rwanda may be experiencing peace at the moment, but does it concern you? I've had conversations with experts who say because the regions, the neighboring regions, have these tensions and conflicts persisting there, it could seep in. How is Rwanda able to insulate itself, especially with DRC so close?
Our survivability does not depend or be given by anybody. That's our philosophy around it. We don't, if you choose war, as in diplomacy say, if you want peace, you prepare war. That is, in my view, Rwanda's position is to defend our borders, our survivability, our survival, our existence. We don't request anybody in this world to exist or to have peace. We have to be in a position to protect ourselves. So whether Congo government has gone this way of inciting hatred against the Rwanda or the Tutsi in the region, that's why you see these wars. Eastern Congo, the majority of them are Tutsi Congolese who are denied the citizenship. But now the Congo government has come together with the Burundi, who carries the genocidal extremists to be partner in war instead of bringing peace. And now he's the chair of African Union. So he thinks he can use that as the chair of African Union to influence the countries. So Congo has gone, the only way, in my view, I'm saying this as you know me, I'm not a politician, I have not held any position in the government, but I speak as the head who loves and who committed to the peace of my country. So Congo is to bring the M23 on the table and be integrated and given what the security they want. Any country will go to another country to defend other people. For example, you know what happened in the Ukraine. Some countries, a big country came and he so defended the people who speak Russians. Whether it is illegal or illegal, but some people should be saved. I'm not saying I'm supporting Russia. So others can do that everywhere. So you cannot see, Rwanda will not throw their hands and say, let people die as long as we are safe. Or let's wait them on our border. Or let's protect them let's protect ourselves when they're on our side. Because we have over 60,000 FDR who are integrated, who are armed by the Burundi and the Kinshasa government. And now even the Bereja, who are the trainers of this, because now this is what you are hearing, Rwanda and the Congo, but now it has gone in many countries. Tanzania has come on board, Angola has come on board, on the Kisekedi side. The Congo, the Angola, which was mediator for 4 years, now has sent troops instead of the Kinshasa, who was the mediator. So you see how the African leaders are hypocrites. Congo, Burundi, who had sent this African force with the Kenya and Uganda, they are now fighting alongside the militias, the Tshisekedi and FDR. And we think in Rwanda, we will say, okay, because the Trump has said so, or because the Angola has said so. No, that's not how the country survives. That's not how human beings should survive. If he failed to unite, so in my view, Kagame has decided to go by the way, negotiation, but also defend himself or defend these people. So there's no question about it, of defending your people. So you cannot stand, as the motion says over here, that never it happen again. We cannot survive be safe ourselves in Rwanda, but people there are massacred in Eastern Congo. Even if they are not Tutsi in Congo, even if it would be Nigeria, Rwanda would, if it has any means, can go and save the other people, those people. That's why we're in Mozambique. That's why we are in Central Africa. That's why we send troops in Haiti to build the roads and the houses. These are our fellow Africans in diaspora. So it's a stronger feeling. It is stipulated in our foreign policy that where there is a genocide, Rwanda has a right and is obligated to intervene. It is in our foreign policy and our constitution. Because we are survivors of genocide, of bad politics, of bad ideology. So it is a threat, but we are ready to challenge it. But I rethink and I support
Kwibuka 32. What is the one thing one advice you will give to African leaders today in one sentence in preventing conflicts like this? Because like you also mentioned, we have several pockets of conflict across the region. It's very unfortunate that a land as beautiful as Africa would be riddled with conflict. That's all we know, and like you said very rightly, campaign is done based on ethnicity instead of policies that will see change for our citizens. So your advice in a sentence to African leaders listening to you right now to ensure peace and shun conflict and shun politically motivated conflict above everything.
Inclusivity. African leaders should accept inclusivity. Inclusivity, unity. That's our strength. Minus that, we are shambled. We are doomed to die. We are doomed to be weak. We are doomed to be controlled. Thank you.
Eddie, for being part of the show. It's always wonderful to have a conversation with you about Africa. You are very passionate about not just Rwanda, but Africa at large. Well done for the work that you also do. Someday I'll bring you on air and we discuss your educational interventions, which is very inspiring as well, giving free education to young Rwandans. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy. God bless you. Looking forward
of RAZEP Africa, discussing Rwanda, or rather the genocide against the Tutsis in Rwanda, 32 years gone. What would the lessons be for African leaders? I hope we shun violence and get to peace. This is pockets of what we are already seeing in other parts of the continent, unfortunately. But it's good to see that there's been sustained peace in that beautiful country as well. But this is it for RAZEP Africa today. Until we come your way next time, I am Dr. Joy Asoye saying thank you for watching. Keep a date with us next time.